thank you for joining me today. I have a friend who has two tops. The first one is almost like double-breasted. She wants me to hook this round one way and then around the other, so it kind of goes like that, which is an easy fix because it's just putting hooks on that go on skirts. The second top, she said originally across the bottom there was a tie, but she didn't like the tie. So I have to work out a new hem for this so it looks neat. I did get asked some strange things, but she doesn't want to throw it away. So let's get on with it. She unfortunately took the tie off, but basically it all gathered into that spot like that for decoration, but she decided she didn't actually like that and got rid of it, and has left me with this wide opening and a couple of areas where I have to take some more stitching out. So I'll take those little bits of stitching out there. I think everything's out on that side, and I'll think about how to put it together again. Flayed everything out so I can really have a look. The arms are even there, the neck's even, and I bring it down. It doesn't look as bad as I thought it might. It's still not good, but it doesn't look as bad. Best thing to do is open absolutely everything up if you can. I'm going to undo the hem on this side. It's going to be a bit of a bind because it is like double stitched and zigzagged by the looks of it, and the same on the other side, because this is not going to want to do what I want it to do if I don't prep it properly. Now the nice thing about some of these is after a little bit of pulling and playing with the threads, you'll find that one will just pull out. I'm going to pull this all the way to the other side. I started going the other way to no avail, but on this side it just all pulls out. That's a lot easier than picking out the stitches. As I say, occasionally you have to pull a couple of threads going one way and pull a couple of threads going the other way before you work out how it was done. And then it will sometimes stop and you have to give it a little bit of a tug. But this is out, and then all I've got to do is pull the threads from the other side to clear all of that mess out. I like a nice easy hem to do. Because I won't be able to sew it exactly the same way, I've decided to move this hem up so that this double stitching will be hidden underneath. She will lose a little bit of length, but she's not going to lose as much length as if I had cut it there and then folded it up. Now something I had noticed is this side comes down slightly, so all I'm going to do is the centre back, just press it and steam it. I'm going to put a couple of pins along here, just along the base of this, so that I can use that as a guide for the front of this top. It's not going to be perfect because this is a stretchy fabric, but if I put that along where it dips down here, when I come to put the hem up, it should be in a nice line. So I'm going to put a couple more in here to get as close as I can to that seam. I stopped ironing about there, so I think I'm in the right place. I just want the hem to be straight to start off with, and that's one thing it is not at the moment. It's straight. That can be folded up to there. Pull that out. And I'm going to just press that little bit in, but I'm not going to press around the side until I know how that goes. As I go across, I'm going to take the pins out. When you're doing something that's not in shape, always makes it a little bit more difficult, and this is a little bit wonky. The only problem with this is that that comes down at a funky angle, so I'm going to straighten that out, and I'm going to straighten that out, and I know this came down slightly, but I don't want it to come down as much as it was. I think I want it to be round about there, so I'm going to flatten all of this out. That's all in line there. I'm thinking that might be about even. I can alter it in a minute if I don't think it's in the right place. Pop all of the hem up that I've got ironed in place to start off with. See how it looks. If I bring all of that down, that actually looks like it could be in line. It might be a little bit out, but I can alter that. Now I'm going to line this side up and see what I can come up with. Pull that back down over it. Line that along here. Just make sure everything stays as flat as you can, which of course is not easy. This is basically at the base of that hem, which is not very good. I will iron it out though, just a little bit. I think I'm going to just put a couple of pins in here. Brings it to there. Not that I'm going to use that just yet, but it does give me an idea of where that comes to. And here, it's just on the other side of the seam at the back. I'm going to open that out like that. You see the front of this is really at a strange angle, and it's at a strange angle because they had to put extra fabric in order to have the tie. Maybe I can get that to work. A little bit of steam there, that out, and then work my way back here. There we go. I've relayered that out and it's kind of coming in place, but not good enough for here. So in order to cover that, I need to go up another 1.5, 2 inches. As long as that folds into the hem like that, I can leave it. That would work, I think. So I'm wondering if I raise the front of this slightly, but it be even, and then go down. I think that's what I'm going to do. Sometimes you have to be a little bit canny on these things. She didn't want to lose it off the back, and if she had to lose some off the front, she would. Now that I have this as my line to measure from, I'm going to do just that. If I take that up to this line here, I think I'll cut it actually, and then I know where I'm working to. I need to do it equidistant from the seams so that I keep everything looking even. It's such a weird shape there. That and that are the same length because this is where it comes down. I'm going to just cut it on up here and then ease it into shape. Not the best way of doing this, but it will work, I'm sure. And then across here, the things I get asked to do. I do like my job because it's always something new. So I'm going to just cut across here. This is my new hem that I'm going to measure up from, and hopefully it won't look too bad. It can't look as bad as that big hole in the front. Now the reason why I put a pin here is because that is the base, but I don't want to take that off just yet. I want to measure it to the same distance as that actually, which is 1.5. So measure this all the way along to 1.5 inches. Press it, don't iron it, press it, because you want the front and the back to be equidistant. And I'm going to bring this back here to 1.5 as well. So long as this looks even, it will work. Now I'm going to have to line it into this side, which will be like this, so it pulls in at a slight angle. This is why I didn't come all the way down here with this, because I knew that I would be pulling it in to a funny angle. It should just come into place. This is Mark II. I put the hem in, and although I had lined it up, it did not go in very well at all. So I assume that I pulled it. Although this is straight to that point, it's quite angular, which I didn't like. And the side that I did like was this one. So having taken the hem all the way down again, I've laid this out. The underarms do match. I've kind of pressed it, not pulled it. This is the new line that I'm going to take it to. Again, I'm just going to pop the pins down at the edge of the hem that I've folded over there. It's been quite awkward because it really isn't designed for this shape, as there was extra fabric put in to accommodate the twist in the way there was a tie there, so it came up. I think that will work. I'll do the back first. I've put the new line in, and I am going to just press that into place. It will be better than that really sharp curve that I had in. This is more or less in line. It's not very clear, but I'm holding it at the shoulders so the weight should be evenly distributed. There's the side there and the side here. They hang evenly, which is more than they did. So I'm happy with that. I'm not going to cut anything back off here just yet until I've worked out how to do this front, because that alters the way it's going to go in. Pull the back out, line the bottom of the sleeve with the bottom of the sleeve there. Pull this up so the shoulders are even at the top. Those lines don't really match, unfortunately. I think that's because the fabric's twisted, so I'm going to try to twist that into line here so it is more even, though that's a little bit difficult because I really don't know where the centre mark was. I've folded the base up there. I'm going to bring this down. This is the side I want to alter. So having patted that into position, I am going to again put pins across the bottom here. Even here it's a little bit narrower, not by very much, and across here. There we go. I think that's going to be more even. I like that. I'm going to just quickly press this out a little bit. There we go. Not by very much, because that should then allow me to come from here and into line a little bit easier. I'm going to go across the bottom of these pins as I come into the new shaping. It starts off as about 1/8 of an inch difference, which really isn't anything. Then it comes in to about 1/4 of an inch and then 3/8. So I wasn't far out, it was just out enough to be a problem to me. And I think because it goes into the shaping as it goes around the corner, it'll be fine. Obviously I'm going to have to recut into the new shape. It's not too far. I didn't like the way it kind of angled. It's still not going to be perfect, but it's better than it was. Don't think it's going to make much difference to the front here. I'll see as I get there. Certainly takes some more of the uneven edge out. Occasionally these things take 2 or 3 goes before you get it absolutely right. I took a little bit off there. And all I've got to do then is repress the hem back into position, and that's moved that little gap even further up, so that's quite handy because I was worried about that too. And then on round to the back. I'm going to line this up so that the seam is more or less straight. I'm going to go into the back first. Remove that one. I'm using a long stitch and I'm going to just push that down and into place so I can sew over it. I'm running the top edge of this hem along the inside of my foot, although I think when I come to the front I'm going to have to lower it slightly, but that is literally a case of twisting the fabric into where I want it to be. And I'm going to guide my fabric through, which is a case of push it down and keep it together as it goes underneath the foot. I'm doing along the back first because that's a nice straight run. And try not to let the fabric stretch out too much. The second side seam is in where I want it, and over we go. Using a pin like this mimics a walking foot. I don't want to put my walking foot on. It doesn't always do what I want it to do. Putting a bit of pressure there, it allows everything to go through. Now here is that little gap. When it's this close to where it started, it's actually in a straight line. There is not going to be any pressure there whatsoever, so it won't come undone. And all I'm going to do is work that right under, like that. The top was just catching on the inside of that foot, so I didn't want that to happen. And now I'll work my way to where I started. And that should give a nicer, more even look compared to what it did have. I was so disappointed, but sometimes you need to put something together, and especially with pins, because although it holds things in place, it doesn't really tell you the whole story. Any stitch line that I put in should actually iron out, so I'm not worried about it. And I will just go over my stitches a little way and finish off. This is the second jacket, although I showed it to you first, and I think the way it's meant to be worn is like this, but my friend doesn't like that. She likes to wear it crossed over like this. She said she used to wear it with a brooch, but she doesn't always want to wear it with a brooch, so I'm going to sew these on, which are sew on hook and eye closures. Put those on first, and then I'm going to take it to her to decide where she wants the eye part to be sewn. Years ago, I remember instructing somebody on how to do this. She did it wrong. So what I'm going to say to you is, do not sew 2 hooks on the same side, which is what she did, because it will not work. But what is obvious to me is not necessarily obvious to somebody else. What I'm going to do is I'm going to sew one on this side, quite close to the top, and then I'm going to sew the second one on this side, also quite close to the top, so that they are not both on the same side. And all you have to do is overstitch a couple of stitches in each of these holes to hold it. And make sure the hook carries the weight, because it will hook and it will carry the weight of the outfit. And come in here, across here like that. I'm not going to go through to the other side, not that anybody will notice because it's on the inside, but certainly on here I don't want to go to the outside of it because it would show. Then on up to this side here, and I'll do the same. I think this is a personal thing because I might want it to hang down lower than she does, or I might prefer it to be tighter around the neck than she does. So I think the best thing is if I go and try it on her so we can get the other side done would be the best thing to do. I'm going to just finish here, go across to the end, cut that out. That's that side, and now I'll do this. That one goes across and this one goes across, and then the eye goes on the other side. On this side I've got the knot coming through here, and I am going to make sure that none of these stitches show to the front. If it shows on here or on the back of this part it won't matter, but it does if it's on the piece that she uses as the front of the jacket. And I'll double check my stitching to make sure that nothing shows. So this is actually a nice quick fix to make something that you like more wearable to your taste. And none of those stitches show on this side, which is how it should be. Thank you for joining me on this. It did take a couple of goes to get the sides of this in. Now that it is in, I think she's going to be really pleased with that. It's nice and even, so it was worth the second go. You learn by your mistakes. And as for this top, I'm going to take it to her, get her to try it on. These skirt hooks really don't show very much, so if she ever wants to wear it open, it will look fine. If you want to see more from me, please subscribe, hit the bell button, and a few thumbs up would be perfect. And in the meantime, take care. See you later. Ciao.